Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're checking out the latest Crimson Desert patch 1.13.0 and taking a look at what's new in this update. Patch 1.13.0 brings several exciting improvements, including new gear, expanded customization options, gameplay enhancements, quality of life updates, and plenty of bug fixes to make the overall experience even smoother. One of the biggest benefits of this update is that it continues to refine the overall gameplay experience. From better balancing to smoother mechanics and improved stability, these changes help make the world feel more polished and enjoyable to explore. Players also get access to more customization options, giving you greater freedom to personalize your character and experiment with different playstyles. The addition of new gear means there are even more ways to prepare for challenging encounters and strengthen your build as you progress. On top of that, the quality of life improvements are designed to make everyday gameplay more convenient, while the bug fixes address issues reported by the community, resulting in a more stable and reliable experience overall. Without further ado, let's get started. This patch allows Oongka Damiane to enter the abyss, adds new outfits, and expands dyeable equipment options, and includes various bug fixes and stability improvements. The update also adds new outfits, giving players more cosmetic options to customize their characters. If you enjoy changing your character's appearance, you'll have even more styles to choose from. Another welcome addition is the expansion of dyeable equipment. More gear can now be recolored, allowing you to create a unique look without being restricted to the default designs. Finally, the patch includes various bug fixes and stability improvements. While these changes aren't always visible, they're important because they help reduce bugs, improve performance, and make the overall gameplay experience smoother and more reliable. Oongka and Damiane, they can now enter the abyss. Accordingly, the locations of memory fragments for certain rematchable bosses have been changed. Corrupted Caliburn, Goyen, Draven the Crowcaller, Clockwork Whitehorn. There's also a nice quality of life improvement for players who use pets. Summoned pets will now rest together with the character when resting in a bed. Another welcome addition is the new option to hide the minimap and status HUD. If you enjoy a more cinematic experience or like taking screenshots, this is a feature you'll definitely appreciate. A brand new item called the Hunter's Sigil has also been introduced. When equipped on a bird pet, it allows the pet to automatically retrieve prey and gather certain resources, making exploration and resource collection much more convenient. Customization gets a huge boost in this update as well. Cliff and Oongka received 39 new pieces of equipment, including several impressive boss outfits, along with new armor and headgear. Boss equipment: 5 pieces of the Tyrannus the Ashen outfit, 5 pieces of the Unyielding Hero outfit, 5 pieces of the Knight of Carnage outfit, 3 pieces of the Martial Monk outfit, 2 pieces of the Grand General of Demonis outfit. New equipment: 16 pieces of armor, 3 pieces of headgear, added 8 new pieces of equipment. New equipment: 8 pieces of armor. On top of that, Oongka can now wear most of Cliff's outfits, giving players far more cosmetic options. Damiane also gains access to several boss outfits, expanding her customization choices even further. Equipment compatibility has also been improved. Damiane can now equip the following boss equipment: 5 pieces of the Guardian of Odek outfit, 3 pieces of the Dark Marksman outfit, 1 piece of the Mask Liberator outfit. Cliff and Oongka can now equip the Cuckoo gear set, including elemental resistant armor, unique boots, and specialized helmets, giving players more flexibility when preparing for different situations. Cuckoo Lightning resistant armor, Cuckoo Flame resistant armor, Cuckoo Breeze step boots, Cuckoo Rishi's boots, Cuckoo Marnie laser helm. Added crafting recipes for 4 types of carpets. Carpet crafting recipes can be purchased from shops. Finally, several enemies, including the Flame Knight, Wyvern Flames, Savage Fang, and Golden Scale Bandits, have received new special attacks. These changes should make familiar encounters feel more challenging and encourage players to adapt their strategies. Added crafting recipes for Lightning Bolt plate armor, Scorch Flame plate armor, and Frost Cursed plate armor. Customization is getting a huge boost. Certain disguise outfits that couldn't be dyed before can finally be customized, and even better, most primary and secondary weapons are now dyeable as well. That's a big win for players who enjoy creating a unique look instead of everyone using the same weapon appearance. Improved the Iron Eagle and Phoenix so that they can equip the Sigil of Valor. Gathering has also become more rewarding. Firefly colonies can now yield up to 3 fireflies instead of just 1, making collection much faster and less repetitive. Puzzle solving is more flexible too. You can now complete many puzzles using Scattershot, opening up another creative solution for players who rely on ranged combat. Quest tracking has been improved. The game will no longer randomly switch your tracked objective to another quest in certain situations. A small change, but one that should eliminate a lot of unnecessary frustration. Rowboats are getting a physics fix. They won't briefly sink underwater anymore when you start using them. It's a visual bug, but one that definitely broke immersion. Several quest-specific issues have also been addressed. During a sack of Pepper Quest wagons will no longer disappear if they're destroyed, preventing players from getting stuck. Another quest fix targets skilled in archery. Dwayne can now properly travel on horseback, ensuring the quest progresses as intended. The encounter with Moren, the Mistwood Huntmaster, has also been fixed. Moren will no longer disappear when combat begins after tracking him. The developers also closed an exploit involving crimes. During memory fragment playbacks, players could commit tool-related crimes without receiving fines. That loophole has now been removed. The gate to advancement is now much more convenient. Its teleport device can be used even if you don't have a Visionin equipped, removing an unnecessary requirement. Furniture management has been fixed as well. Previously, repurchasing certain furniture after selling it could cause every item in the repurchase menu to disappear. Thankfully, that's been resolved. Contribution progression has also been corrected. In certain situations, contribution could increase far more than intended. That abnormal gain has now been fixed for a more balanced progression system. Combat balance gets a small tweak too. The Bleed Bandit's Alchemy Explosive Pack now loses durability every time it summons a bomb, preventing unlimited use. The Hand of Deliverance quest has received a progression fix. Rescuing the injured soldier first will no longer prevent the earlier sub-objective from completing. Finally, Antumbra's Spear has been fixed. Certain attacks could activate from incorrect positions, and those abnormal hit locations have now been corrected for more consistent combat. Moving on to the controls and character fixes, we've got several gameplay improvements here. First up, Axiom Force has been improved during soft lock-on. Now, when you activate the ability while locked onto an enemy, it'll fire immediately at your current target instead of behaving inconsistently. This should make combat feel much smoother and more responsive. Damiane also gets a welcome fix. The Smiting Strike proficiency skill can now be used correctly while a spear is equipped. If you've been running a spear build, this bug should no longer interrupt your combat flow. For Oongka, there's a rather unusual bug that's been squashed. Previously, pressing the exit key while reading memories could unexpectedly throw the character into vertical flight. That unintended transition has now been fixed, so reading memories won't accidentally send you flying. Another exploit has been addressed involving counter stance. Players will no longer be able to activate this defensive ability while carrying a flag, preventing some unintended gameplay interactions. And finally, a loading screen issue has been resolved. In certain situations, players could actually control their character while the game was still loading during a character switch. That has now been fixed, making transitions much cleaner and preventing unexpected movement or glitches. Now let's get into the combat and action changes, and this section is packed with gameplay improvements. Starting with ranged combat, muskets and pistols have become much more mobile. You can now fire both weapons while sliding, allowing for faster-paced gunplay and much smoother movement during combat encounters. One of the more amusing bugs has finally been fixed. Using focused aerial roll near NPCs was somehow being treated as a crime. So if you've ever been wanted just for performing an acrobatic dodge, that's thankfully no longer a thing. Jump attacks have also been polished. When attacking from high places, characters would briefly freeze before landing the attack. That awkward pause has been removed, making aerial attacks feel much more fluid. Sliding attacks are now more reliable as well. Certain weapon and equipment combinations previously prevented these attacks from working altogether, but those compatibility issues have now been resolved. Another quality of life improvement fixes weapon swapping. Some skills would automatically switch you back to your main weapon whenever a tool was equipped. That unwanted behavior has been corrected, so your equipment now behaves much more consistently. Oongka receives several important fixes in this update. Charging attacks with certain weapons could previously be stopped by enemy collisions, but that issue has now been addressed. Aerial grapple also works properly with the Cuckoo Rocket Pack equipped, giving players more freedom to combine mobility tools without running into bugs. Flying combat has been improved too. Oongka can now properly designate targets while airborne, making aerial engagements much more practical. And if you were using a Graithhammer, finishing blows will now connect correctly. Previously, these cinematic finishers could completely miss despite meeting the conditions. Damiane also receives several combat fixes. Lightning Strike now has smoother animations, making the attack look much more natural during combat. Another bug involving the Ground Surge Abyss Gyre has been fixed. Element Infused Smiting Strike now activates at the correct timing instead of triggering incorrectly. One unintended movement exploit has also been removed. Quickly swapping to the broom after using Flame Rush could let players move at abnormally high speeds. That exploit has now been patched. A major control issue involving Blackstar has also been resolved. Previously, summoning Blackstar while using Axiom Force could lock out nearly every control except movement and jumping. Thankfully, players will no longer lose access to their combat controls. Another rare equipment bug has been fixed as well. After obtaining the Twilight Messenger's weapon, some players would unexpectedly start attacking with their bare hands instead. That strange issue has now been corrected. And finally, the developers have polished several flight animations for the Wyvern, making aerial travel look smoother and more natural. Wrapping things up, let's take a look at the user interface improvements, which focus on making everyday gameplay much cleaner and more convenient. One of the most noticeable changes is that the inventory will now automatically close when you use an elixir, helping keep your attention on the action instead of leaving menus open. Players switching between Oongka and Damiane will also notice an improved character switch interface. In situations where only Cliff can continue the story, the UI now communicates that much more clearly, reducing confusion during progression. The die interface has received a smart quality of life update as well. Items that simply can't be dyed are no longer selectable, making customization much more straightforward and eliminating unnecessary trial and error. Quest tracking has also been cleaned up. Instead of cluttering your minimap with multiple objectives, only your currently tracked quest will now appear along the minimap border, making navigation much easier. The developers have also fixed several interface bugs, including missing alerts for recoverable Wyvern eggs, trust notifications not appearing correctly in the notification history, and an issue where furniture tooltips could display the wrong item when using mouse and keyboard controls. Finally, there are plenty of additional fixes and quality of life improvements that round out this update. The developers have cleaned up a wide range of visual issues, including weapon, outfit, mount, ship, and animation glitches, making the overall presentation feel much more polished. They've also resolved numerous quest progression bugs, improved housing and decoration mechanics, refined UI elements, updated several in-game descriptions and knowledge entries, and fixed various camera, interaction, and respawn issues. Oongka and Damiane also receive a handful of additional skill description and visual improvements, while controller support has been polished with more accurate button prompts. None of these changes are major headline features on their own, but together they eliminate dozens of small annoyances and make the overall gameplay experience significantly smoother. It's the kind of polishing pass that players may not immediately notice, but they'll definitely appreciate over time. And that's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.